Hello and welcome to our Unit 3 Primary Spanish Unit Preview. I am excited to show you this unit planner that I've created. It's a collaborative planner. The transdisciplinary theme that you can see up here in box 1 is how the world works, and the part that the third grade focuses on at my school is the natural world and its laws. Its central idea here is living things depend on adaptations for survival. And in their classroom, what the kids are going to be doing is learning about animals and habitats. Then they will be assigned an animal and a habitat that don't normally go together, and they'll have to figure out what kinds of adaptations the animal would have to go through in order to survive in its new habitat. For example, if a polar bear was living in the desert, how would it have to adapt to survive? And so I thought that we could easily connect to that, and I have created a unit planner to go alongside those ideas. So, in box 1B, I've just described to you what the kids are going to be doing as their summative assessment in their classroom, and that is what is right here. In red down here is what I have decided we are going to do. I have a cute story from Teachers Pay Teachers called El Gato y el Pez, and we're going to learn about the story. We're going to be able to act it out as part of our summative assessment. Part of that process is going to be talking about a table discussion where they discuss how a cat and fish would need to adapt to live in each other's habitats and how that would change the story of El Gato y el Pez. The story itself is about, it's pretty typical. The cat wants to get to the fish, but he can't. And so that we can have a lot of discussions about why the cat can't go into the fish bowl and that sort of thing. I do have a rubric that I have created. It is right here. And I've kept it simple with a yes or a no. And it just breaks down all the different parts of what I just read to you. That is the summative assessment that is in box 1B, just for Spanish, not for the classroom. Here it is. Scholars demonstrate comprehension of the vocabulary in the story El Gato y el Pez. And we will spend quite a bit of time. I'll show you some of the activities in the planner that I have for us to do so that I can show that they have that comprehension. They can act out the story. They participate in the table group discussion, and they are able to articulate how adaptations would change the story. One of the things that I've been trying to add is a spot on the rubric for the teacher feedback. That's one of the things that I know that a lot of us needed to work on in our unit planner from last year. That's one of the things that we got as feedback for ourselves, is that we needed to make sure that we had a way that we were giving feedback and next steps to our students from their summative work. Okay, I'm going to hop back over to the unit planner, and I'm going to look at box 2. And again, because I am connecting and collaborating with the grade level, these are things that they already created, and the part in red is what I'm going to do in Spanish, how it's going to work in Spanish. So when they have the key concepts here, these are all of them if you look up at the top here, and then these are the ones that they chose to focus on. And they worked really well for me. They were a natural fit to say connection, how are all animals connected, perspective, what kinds of adaptations would be needed. We already talked about that, sort of that opinion sort of side of things. And then for the form, the similarities and differences between the different animals that we discuss. And we will be focusing mostly on El Gato y el Pez, but we will have opportunities for discussion to occur organically where we talk about different animals that they have in class. So there's a lot of opportunity for us to make connections to those concepts. The lines of inquiry down here, again, these were picked already, so I have written in here how we will connect to the traits of plants and animals. We're going to describe animals, and we can include people in there. We are going to also discuss how they can adapt and where they live and why. So where does a cat live? Does it live in the water? No. Why? It can't breathe, right? So we can have lots of opportunities. I'll show you where that's going to come in again later. The provocation, here I've chosen a YouTube video with cats and fish. It's quite entertaining. You can just show part of it. We could show different parts of it different days. But the idea is to get the kids kind of excited and engage them in the vocabulary that we're going to need also for our story. Coming down to box 3. Box 3 is where we put down first, how best might we learn, and how will we see what students already know. So I've written a couple of ways that we can do that through class discussion. We could do that through creating lists and talking about things that we already know how to say. And then the thing to remember about box 3, we've talked about it before, is that this is where those lines of inquiry come in. So I have just copied and pasted them here to make sure that if we're looking at learning in the context of the lines of inquiry, that I'm talking about how we're going to do that. What will we look for? We'll look for students being able to describe animals. We'll look at students being able to discuss. So those are the ways that I have learned that it's easiest to make sure box 3 gets filled out correctly, is just to put them directly in there and make sure that I'm filling it out that way. In box 4, these are the learning experiences that we are planning on having as a class. So I've written here, in Spanish we will discuss natural habitats of animals and what adaptations they would need to survive in habitats of other animals. And as I was saying before, really we're limited mainly just by time. So we may not get into too many habitats and other animals. Just depends on how the conversation flows and how many classes we get to have in order to see how many we get into. But we'll keep it pretty simple and do things like these activities here. We can play 2 corners for puede, no puede, and put up an animal. Can it or can it not live in the water? And so that's just an example. Another thing that we could do, we have games, we have songs, we have all sorts of activities, writing Pictionaries, drawing what we've learned, writing and drawing the story, all of the learning activities that we could do. And then at the bottom of box 4, we have our transdisciplinary skill development. And again, these are things, for the most part, that the teachers have put in, and I have just written in how we can connect in Spanish, what we'll be doing to be communicators, what we'll be doing to for self-management, using their time, following essential agreements, that all of those sorts of things. And most of these are really easy to connect to. Things like being communicators and risk takers. We do that all the time in a language classroom. Box 5, I have the Teachers Pay Teachers link for the book and the YouTube video. And box 5 is where we're going to write all the resources that need to be gathered. Anything that you choose to do that you'll need to be able to go back and refer to make that you're ready. Make sure you're ready for your unit is going to go in this box. And then beyond there, you have your reflection spots again. And this is something that you can fill out as you go and also at the end. Making sure to talk about things, not just about the timing of things and what you think you needed to do differently, but also, did the kids show evidence that they understood the central idea? If not, what things need to be changed? What things could be improved? So making sure that these are really thoroughly filled out is an important part of the process. Reflection is one of those things that we try to teach the kids, and we have to make sure that we are also engaging in. So that is my Unit 3, 3rd grade unit preview. If you have any questions, please make sure to send me all of your questions in an email. I can include those questions in our upcoming office hours, the answers to the questions and the questions themselves. And I look forward to doing our 4th one very soon. Thanks for listening.